All right, let's see. My audio looks good. Hello, Bacon.
Hello, hello.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's balancing a little bit, but I got it all under control. Yeah, sounds awesome. We are here
Excellent.
with Better with Bacon, talking about roleplay, which is what I just call this show. It's not really a show name. It's just how do I name this on YouTube? Well, we talk about roleplay, so it's Talking Roleplay now.
Good name.
It's all we do while people see us like in our little PDAs with a spaceport background of ships landing and taking off.
It's cool.
Yeah, if you talk about roleplay, why not do it in space? Roleplay.
Yeah, everything's cooler in space.
It's just better. Better in space and better with Bacon. Awesome. So I had an opening question. At first I thought I'm gonna do it like Chris Williamson, you know. You saw the show and it's like hard-hitting question is the first thing that comes out in his like a podcast that I listen to. It's like, oh, I already fumbled that part, so
You're fine.
what is your experience with Space Station 13?
I have zero experience with Space Station 13. In fact, I don't think I know what it is.
Oh, really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
I actually thought you commented on that game on Discord once. So I had it in my back pocket, like in the back of my mind. That it
If
might
I
have
commented, it was probably just to say like hello, just to be like, hey, I'm here, I'm supporting the stream or the video or whatever. I
Okay,
have
my
no
bad,
experience
my
with it.
bad. Okay.
No worries.
I thought there was like some hidden lore in there. I fumbled that one.
No
Let's see.
worries. Sadly, no hidden lore.
It's a video game, but it's one of those that has been developed over, I think, like something crazy, like the last 20 years. That is built pretty much by the community, like coded as a community, and built
cool.
and iterated upon with, like, people create different servers and their own servers add more code to it. It's about like living on a space station or role playing on a space station. You're like a 32 pixel avatar, and everybody plays a crew member.
Station 13?
Yeah, Space Station 13.
Okay. I'll look that up.
And
Dive into it later.
Yeah, it has some crazy mechanics like intricate physics systems, atmospheric systems, how gases work, how medicine works, and which allows for insane roleplay opportunities with other players because every character that walks around is another player. So I thought you had a little bit of background there, but maybe somebody else commented on it, and I thought
it could have been someone else.
Yeah, could be.
Sadly, not me. Apologies.
No worries. I've been playing it's like a new version of it since this system is so old. A lot of the code is very much like spaghetti code, so people have been trying to recreate it in Unity with Space Station 14. And that's a game I've been playing, and I've been role-playing in sometimes. The latest video on my channel is me role-playing a hospital corpsman. Instead of being a member on a spaceship, on a space station, I'm a member of the United Nations Marine Corps. And we recreate like role-playing Aliens, the second movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. Or maybe I'll give it a shot. We'll see. Depends on how much time I'm able to claw back from a project.
Look, if you need time to play this game, it's not the game for you. It's one of those.
Okay.
It's one of those games where you need 50 hours to understand the mechanics of the game.
Definitely do not have that.
No.
Not at this point, anyway.
The systems are more easily to understand in Space Station 14. I bounced off of the old version. Like I'm not gonna learn all the intricate mechanics of how things interact in this system. but with the Unity as a baseline that everything is coded in, it was more approachable as a. And I find it interesting as a vector for role playing in a video game, because yeah, like you don't see the world through the eyes of the character, since it's a top-down view, like a 2D map from the sky when you walk around. But with all the Marines being their own person, people role-playing with the contact with the Xenos, or saving other Marines, dragging them back from the front lines to the back lines, bringing them to me, to the medic, and resuscitating them and checking if they're all right. There's a lot of emergent roleplay. It allows for emergent roleplay, so what I want to say.
I'll have to give it a shot. I will say I'm dubious of combining like a visual video game with role play in it, like from a top-down perspective. But
Yeah,
I've been wrong before, and I am positive that it's probably going to be a lot more permissive of role play than say a VTT is. VTTs drive me up a wall usually.
yeah.
They're never able to do exactly what you need them to. Like, I'm not knocking them. I get it. I get it. But very frequently I struggle with the VTT to a degree that just it will not allow me to role play. I have to constantly be looking for a button or something that I can't find in the files for the games, a character sheet or something like that. So it generally and that's probably a user thing. That's not it's not a fault of the VTTs. It's just me. But I'll give it a shot. I mean, I don't have 50 hours, but that doesn't mean I can't like go read about it or go watch a video, right? Like I can watch and see how you do it on your channel and see what it's like, right?
Yeah, I think I edited my video specifically without commentary, so that you just see what I do in the game and not explaining, okay, what does it mean to wear this specific outfit as a medic, and why do I not pick another item? It would be cool for like people to play the game, but it's not really necessary. But just exploring, like, okay, he said the breathing, he's helping somebody, he's having dialogue, and that guy has just overdosed on all the medication that I've prepared and shared with my squad. Like, hey guys, take this protein bar full of medication that I pumped in with a syringe. So if you're hurt, you can like medicate yourself eating this protein bar. And some guy just took the satchel and ate 8 of them, overdosed, and died on the dropship.
Oh wow, that'll do it.
Yeah. And it's like, if you don't roleplay, it's just a delay on the video, on the gaming performance, right? Of, oh, my team is losing. And you would get upset about it. But since I play it for role-playing in a video game, I find it hilarious. Like, oh, that's an awesome story that's developing here. Me and another medic, like, talking back and forth, like, what an idiot he is, and should we report this to the military police? And they say, no, please don't. They're gonna take me back up ship for not putting an overdose label on those bars. It's like, and like having the back and forth.
You're the doctor in this situation. You should have let him know.
Yeah,
That's on you, man.
that's on me. That's what I mean with immersion roleplay. Something happens and you can react to it. And yeah, it's in a video game and you don't see it through the exact eyes of your character, but it's still roleplaying in a different way, on a different level.
Sure.
But yeah, we can move on from then, since you're not playing it, so I'm just like pushing what's like on my head.
No worries. You're excited about it. I have no problem with that.
Bleed is bad. There you go.
Bleed is bad.
It's I think that was the title, the thumbnail of your video, and you talked about
which was a play on Gordon Gekko's "Greed is Good."
Oh,
From a film, And I think I maybe went over a lot of heads with that reference because that's what the image is of in the thumbnail. It's Gordon Gekko from the film. I think it is. Is it called Greed? I think it might be called Greed. Um, Man, put me on the spot for movie knowledge, and it just out of my brain. But yeah, it's a movie reference to that line.
Gotcha.
Greed is good.
That makes sense. I've rewatched that particular episode just since I'm gonna talk with you, and I brought it up like in Discord messages with Maya. She
Hmm.
mentioned Bleed at some point. It said, and I did the Reddit thing. Oh my god, you just triggered bacon. Something silly like that.
Well, for the record, I do not mind if people want to use the word bleed. It's like, I get it. It's a word, it's out there. People use it, and I, making one video on YouTube, I'm not changing anyone's mind. I'm not going to curtail its usage. I can just explain why I don't like it, and I can encourage people not to use it, but I know that that's a losing battle. So I'm not here to say don't use it. I just don't like it. So I personally don't use it because there's a lot of other better things that we could discuss with. And man, it's been a while since I wrote that script and did all the research for that. So I'm not going to remember everything. In fact, I might have to speak in generalities because I don't remember everything. Sadly, I don't have my notes in front of me. Um,
Yeah, no
but
worries.
yeah, bleed is it's an idea that was coined in LARP communities. I may have misspoke in the video. I think I said that it was coined in the Nordic LARP community. It may have been other LARP communities. Um, Sarah Lynn Bowman is often given credit for having the very first formalized idea. And when I say formalized, I mean academic. She proposed it as like sort of an academic uh, th- uh, theory. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but there was a study that was conducted behind it, but it was really, and I hope I get this right. I think it was Emily Boss who proposed it initially. I think it was at the Forge. So the Forge Nordic LARP. I'm immediately dubious, uh, but what it was attempting to describe was the emotional permeability between character and player.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that it does a good enough job. However, I will say that, like casually, colloquially, it's a fine term to use. You can use bleed to discuss the emotions that you felt as a character, et cetera, et cetera.
So when you say emotional permeability, we are talking about I'm angry in person sitting at the table, and I let that anger be my character acts angrily to this trader that wants to
Mm-hmm.
like give me something, and I'm like, I'm I'm sick of your nonsense. Like I'm sick of your prices. Letting that bleed through, even though the character might have no reason to be angry in that moment, but you let your feelings bleed through the character, and
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. Like your character has witnessed the loss of another player's character, and he is completely distraught, and having that
Mm-hmm.
bleed through to you as a person of like the loss of somebody, and being like, guys, I don't know if I don't know if I can handle this anymore, kind of
Mm-hmm.
deal.
Yeah,
Do I understand that right?
I believe so. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yeah.
And having watched your video on it, the point I remember, so you can correct me if that makes sense to you, is that's kind of nonsense. Because if that's true, then we could or create traumatic experiences at the table based on how you're role playing. And we're gonna need all kinds of health and safety checks to make sure that people don't create PTSD through fictional characters or something like those of
Yeah,
those nature.
I think generally the point I was making is that in Nordic LARP communities, insofar as I have read, bleed is used. Um, it's kind of a risk identifier almost, but
Risk identifier.
they're they're attempting to call normal human affect, normal human emotion, um, traumatic or risky or like that sort of thing. And you know, this could be only one aspect of bleed. I don't pretend like I know absolutely everything about the subject. I know enough to know that I don't like to use it, and I can explain why I don't like to use it. Um, but like there are normal human emotional responses to fiction, be it a novel or a movie or a play or imaginative, role play that can affect us. But there's also frame theory, Goffman, where or I forget what it's called. What's it called? Two minds, two minds, something like that. Where you always know who you are. So
Yeah.
even if you've assumed the role of another character, you always know who you are, and so there's always going to be that distance between character and player. Now, you can do things to increase that distance or reduce that distance. That's a lot of what we focus on in 4D is reducing that distance, um, so that we can feel like we are actually there. We want to be there in the space as the character.
Yeah.
And so we do a lot to reduce roll distance. But there is never a situation where pathology is not involved, where you are confusing yourself for the character. Right? And I know Mike's in the Mike, I see you in chat. If I'm wrong, let me know.
Oh,
That's,
I don't see him. I guess he has a different username compared to Discord.
yeah, M Melnick is
Oh,
what we're
gotcha.
seeing as at M Melnick. So he's not DMH Relic here, but and
Welcome.
I see Nicholas. Bacon is so hateful. Makes me sick to my stomach the way he distills vitriol in this community.
I can't believe it, Bacon. Why can't you just let people have fun?
I am the literal worst. I'm the literal worst. It's like the way I always say it is like, look, I know how people handle themselves. I know what they're about. I know, like, as far as like vocabulary is concerned, I'm not out to change the world. I'm not out to change the ways people speak, but I do have strong opinions, and I will tell you what those opinions are. Doesn't mean I'm going to change anything. Doesn't mean I expect to change anything. Just means that I have a strong opinion. And if you ask, I'll tell you. But don't get mad at me.
Okay, but since we do have a platform on YouTube, and with platform meaning we are literally standing on the soapbox, and people decide to stop at the park and listen or not, right? But
Yes.
the parks
Yeah.
are endless. It never stops. So it's not like we are holding up people from having the jog that they want to go. Like nobody has to listen. It's all opt in. Since people
Yeah,
opt in,
exactly.
and you fucking hate bleed. It's like to your guts. You have nightmares about it. I know you have like all those posters on the wall with a red yarn to like white bullshit.
With a red marker with the crazy eyes.
If bleed
No,
is bad, what is a better term to use, or how should people use interact with emotions? Like, okay, I feel distressed about the death of my friend's character in character, and you feel a little bit for it because you're immersing yourself in the scene of like, oh man, that's a hard hitting scene. How is there like, what is the normal process to deal with that? If you're not going to talk about bleed.
This is where I'm going to eat dirt because I am going to try my best to remember what it was I said in the video.
Also, check
I'm
out
not
his
probably...
video. Like, I got the link to his channel in the description, guys. If you
thank you.
If you want the up-to-date version, like it was all scripted out, so he did all the research. Now it's months later, so check that one out, guys.
So, I mean, it really depends on the phenomenon, right? Like, we can talk about sympathetic emotions. We can talk about parasocialism, which is really just, I mean, that parasocialism these days has a sort of a negative connotation. It's not really always negative. It's just,
it just means you have a relationship with somebody who doesn't have a relationship with you. It's one-sided.
Right. Yeah, it's an emotional entanglement with a character that is not real or that you do not know personally or like that sort of thing. It's not a negative thing. It can manifest negatively, but generally speaking, when you're watching a film and you feel the sorrow that, a character feels at someone they know passing, that's sort of a part of parasocialism. Um, and so those are things that we can talk about with regard to how to how to discuss the emotions that we experience while we're role playing. And let me stop here for a moment to say that the point of that video, Bleed is Bad, is not to call emotion during role play bad. It's not to say
Right.
that this thing that Bleed attempts to wrestle with is somehow bad and we should disregard that. That's the furthest thing from the truth. That it's actually an extremely well documented phenomenon among, there's affect psychology, which is just the psychology of emotion. There's the frame theory. There's a whole bunch of, parasocial. There's all kinds of acting schools and even some narratology, I think. But that's me kind of tossing it out there, making an assumption. And that could be a bad assumption. But this has been documented in film for over a century and a half. Tolstoy, Dickens, they have made public statements saying how they felt when they were writing certain characters. So the process, the creative process for them elicited this emotion. I mean, there's scores and scores and scores of data and research and academic studies that's been run on this sort of emotional connection that we make with fictional characters, whether or not we created them or are acting as them. And it's a very well documented thing. I'm not sitting in that video saying stop being emotional, weirdo. That's not even remotely what I'm saying, because it's not weird, right?
Yeah.
It's a common uh, uh, it's a human experience. It's common across the vast majority of humanity. And so when I say bleed is bad, specifically what I mean is that word, that term, bleed, is bad because of how nebulous it is, because of how little mystical it is, and because there's no real documentation or study on specifically what it applies to. Are we talking about behavior bleed? Are we talking about cognition? Are we talking about emotion? Are we talking about all three? There's no real, it's just people talk about bleed. Oh yeah, I'm experiencing bleed, and then it could mean one of any number of things that they're going to have to drill down
Oh,
and get specific
right.
on,
You have to
which is
unpack it
why I say it's a
first.
bad. Right, 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 and
It's
that's
like,
why I say it's a bad term. It's not the idea. It's not.
gotcha.
The emotion is there. The emotion is real.
Yes.
That's not what I'm condemning. It's specifically the term bleed and how people use it. But
Have
again,
you have
I know
you
I'm not going
had
to fix anything.
I mean, did you experience that yourself? Not just we're not just talking about empathy. I mean, I watched Lord of the Rings and I watched
Hmm.
Samwise and Frodo, and I think, my God, I wish I had a friend this close. I can feel it. It happens in the movie, and I start crying like with a single tear in the corner. It's gonna be like several tears in my case. Like, Samwise, you're the
No, I
best. You're literally
absolutely, yeah,
carrying him
no,
up the mountain. What a
so with
bro.
what a bro. With specifically with like fiction that you're experiencing passively, books, movies, television. There's something called narrative transportation where you're able to sort of be immersed in whatever it is that you're viewing.
Yeah.
And I have certainly experienced narrative transportation. I have experienced this emotional transference during role play. I've experienced it during television viewings and movies, and kind of like Pippin kind of friend. That's uh that's a good characterization, I think.
No, I don't want to be the Pippin. I'm
No, that's not
probably
what I said. I
I'm
never said
probably
feelings
the
for girls.
Pippin.
That's very funny
Yeah.
though. Um,
Nicholas is
but
the
yeah, I've
best.
absolutely experienced it. Like one of the clearest, and this goes back decades. One of the clearest examples that I have that I can recall is a Star Wars game that we were playing. It was me and this other character, and we were just so opposed to each other's actions in character. I absolutely, like, every time we would be in a scene together, I would be rolling my eyes at him and just absolutely seething at the dumb stuff he was choosing to do. And
Yeah.
that was me. That was Bacon. Just so, just completely intolerant of this particular character.
Is this a
To a point where
classic?
it eventually boiled over and we got into a fight. Like not a physical fight. Our characters got into a fight, I should say.
Well, it's an important distinction, right? Since we
Yeah,
don't sit at
yes.
the
When we're talking
table,
about
so
this stuff, it is an
we
important
got into a fight. It's like, wait, did the beer bottle start flying, or are you just shouting over the table, or my character is upset at your character, but both players at the table are kind of chill and relaxed about it?
No. It was like we got into a fight. He won. I got really salty and left. Like it was a, it was a,
Oh,
it
the
was a
emotional
full-on
transference
in-character
became,
moment.
the bleed became real.
Yes, yes.
Oh well, yes. The old, I say old, before immersive role playing, 4D role playing, I've had those moments like too often. Not for myself, because I always had a clear separation of whatever my character does has nothing to do with my emotional state. And I need this for self protection because I use escapism. I use these games as escapism to have a good time or have an interesting time, have something emotional, have something dramatic happen, have something cool happen. But it's not me because I cannot replace my life with my character's life and hide in another world. I don't think people do it in role playing games, but we see it happen with people playing MMOs or using VR to like, okay, I'm gonna use this escapism, but I'm just kind of replacing my life with the life in that world.
I'm sure that does happen. I don't know how effectively I can speak to that. That's not some. I mean, I'm no doctor, and I have not done really a whole lot of research on that topic. But I'm certain that happens. I just don't. I can't speak to it.
I mean,
Mike might be able to speak to it better than me. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. That's a big problem of when you hear news like a Chinese baby dying because both parents are addicted to an MMO and just play 24/7. Situations like that, like completely losing track of real life because they have invested everything into a virtual world. And situations
those stories
like
are
those.
definitely out there. Sadly, those stories are out.
Luckily, not commonplace. But yeah, it's kind of. I was thinking of the most extreme versions of that, right? Like, I use it as escapism, but for me, it's always important of like, whatever Talash does is kind of a power fantasy. Playing this dwarf monk in a world where he has been kidnapped and been stuck as a slave for the drow in the underground for 20 years. How would I roleplay a character that went through this massive traumatic event through like a big chapter in his life? He's like 100 years old, but it's 20 years chunked out of that and come out of it as a monk. And using the monk class to represent the willpower of protecting the inner sanctum that they might break his body but not his mind, to come out of it a better dwarf, a better person. And how do I roleplay that? I find that so fascinating, just as a concept of. I get excited, I get excited.
Yeah, sure. It's a very interesting angle.
Thank you for agreeing.
Yeah, no problem. So, it looks like in chat, Mike said empathy might apply here. This is probably when we were talking about what to use when we talk about bleed or the specific emotions. So, cognitive and emotional types of empathy. That's likely true. I will take his word for it because he's the psychologist.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's see what else we have here. It's if you don't mind me going through the comments.
We can do that. Yeah, kind of hit a dead end on the bleed topic. So let's look.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's not really not much to say about it. It's like there's a
Yeah,
whole bunch of other stuff out there that we can use to really qualify emotion during role play. Emotion does happen. It is a real part of play.
of course.
And I hate the term bleed, so like that's the end of the conversation. I hate it. I don't want to use it. What more is there to say?
He's full of hate,
Um,
chat.
yes, I am the hate monger. So
Like
it looks like
Daryl
Nicholas
over here.
says,
I always wondered why I'll cry for a movie character but have little sympathy for a real person. To that, the first thing that comes to my mind is the movie very meticulously sets up the character for you to understand where the character is coming from, so that when bad things happen to him, you feel for him because you
yeah,
understand all the circumstances.
yes, you are being manipulated actively when you watch a movie or read a book. You are absolutely
The
being
music, the
manipulated. And
violin, the camera angle,
mhm,
the rainfall, standing at the bus stop, dad never
yep.
came, picking you up. He's I don't know, at the bar drinking, like the smash cut to him at the bar drinking, and you go through. Oh, that's sad too. What an asshole, you know.
And you can watch movies in a way. I actually do watch movies this way generally. You can pick up on the different cues that they're giving you and know exactly what's going to end up happening to any given character. Like, oh man, this guy just got a new job with a new wife and they have their first kid on the way. He's absolutely going to die before the end of the movie. Like, you just know he's getting snuffed.
I'm 2 days
It's just
from
going
a
to happen.
retirement. Let's do this.
Yeah.
One last,
Yup. Yes.
one last
Exactly.
job.
Exactly. And it's because I've said I come from movies. I actually used to work on movie sets. I used to read scripts. There's a whole bunch of stuff I used
Oh
to do
wow.
with film, but specifically, when you learn how they are trying to manipulate you, then you end up paying attention to it a lot more. And so that's really what's happening there is that when you go to a movie, generally you're consenting to some form of emotional manipulation. It might not always be sad. It might be, that triumphant fist pump at the end when the bad guys, taken out, or it might be some sort of
Right.
exhilaration for like Fast and the Furious movies. There's like 17 of those movies because people keep going back to the theaters to get to revisit that same sort of excitement over and over again. So it's you're consenting to being manipulated whenever you go to a film or whenever you read a book or that sort of thing. Sometimes even listen to an album, or it's just that's how we are as humans. And it's so reliable, you can know that it's going to happen and it still happens anyway. Like there are ways to do it that make it impossible to resist as a human.
I think very much like a parasocial relationship, catching flack as a negative term when it's very much just describing the relationship with something or somebody that doesn't have the relationship back to you, being one-sided as a streamer or as a fictional character who literally has no choice. Like, oh, Hatsune Miku, I love you. It's like she doesn't exist. She's not real.
Yes.
I'm, I'm,
Yes.
I'm sorry, chat. I don't know, like maybe one guy's in there uh, who's still delusional about it. And Santa Claus isn't real, and the Easter Bunny he's also not here. I don't
Everything I know
know.
is wrong. What do you mean Santa's not real? Everything I know is wrong. I'm kidding.
It was your
Mike
dad
again in
all
chat
along,
says,
Bacon.
yeah. Mike in chat says, you'll see it with people living in their imagination sort of thing. TTRPGs generally require people, and thus you relinquish some control over the imagined space to build fiction with others.
Yeah, absolutely. Well
Elf
put.
Hunter says, his most recent comment, my mom is good at detecting TV techniques, makes her good at solving crime shows. I don't have that gift. Really, all it takes is watching more television. That's all it takes. Being aware and watching more television, you'll be able to pick up on it.
It's the scene in the Matrix. Oh, those lines of codes. All I see is blondes, brunettes, and redheads. You watch enough shows, you pick up on the good techniques, and then you get annoyed when the shows actually don't do it, and they throw in a curveball that has nothing to do with anything, and you think, this doesn't make any sense. Like none of this makes sense. Why did you put this in? And the director will say, well, I wanted to be subversive. I knew you expected something, so I just, ignored everything we know about media to throw you a curveball. Classic subversions with the Disney Star Wars. for like ever since they exist.
Disney Star Wars.
But let's not go there. We don't want to make
Okay.
everyone depressed.
Deal. Let's not go there.
I owe a huge thanks to Bacon for introducing me to Goffman's frames. 3 months ago, I didn't even know what GNS was. Now I'm a full-time GNS hater.
Yes. That's what I like to hear. Yeah.
I
There's a
struggle.
lot more to say on that. There's a lot more to say on that. You go ahead first.
I
Maybe you'll be able
struggle. I struggle on the GNS topic because I'm not a theorist. I'm a practitioner. The way I see role playing is I do this for fun. So if I have to think about it, it's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore.
I get that. I take a different. I'm sure you realize I take a different side. Is that
Of course.
I want to understand. Not only do I want to understand, but I think it's worth understanding role playing and the different types of behaviors and the different types of thoughts that we have around and during role play. And so I like to sort of explore those, but I like to explore them in a very methodical, well researched as I can find sort of a way. Like, and the reason I do that is because no one cares what I have to say. I'm just an idiot on the internet. But, and I don't, that's not a self-deprecating statement. That's a genuine, like, I get it. I have done no research. I have, like, no one, who cares what I have to say? So I like to take those people who people do care what they have to say and then use that to justify a position, because that to me is the most effective way to justify a position. Because number one, it's not coming from me, the unlearned. It's coming from someone who people have cited, over sometimes across, decades to justify their positions in academia. Well, thank you, Crispy. I appreciate that. And it also gives me an out, because if someone challenges me, it's like, well, it's not me you disagree with, it's Goffman. It's not me you disagree with, it's Captain Gadamer or Arseth or Bogost or whoever.
Right. You have a point of reference. It's like you got the castle set, like somebody built a castle, so you're like, don't attack me. Like, you have to go through the castle first. You have to dismantle his arguments before you reach the bacon.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. It's not I can run away from you trying to debunk something that I said. What it really is that with the support, with this generalizable cross-disciplinary support, I'll get there, I promise. What it really forces people to do is that maybe you have a differing opinion. Maybe it's, I don't know, let's say the immersion issue, right? Because I think it'll segue nicely. So there are people out there who say you can be immersed. And there are people out there who say you cannot be immersed, and never the two shall meet. If I, from my position, whichever one it is, can say, well, we can, and here's the evidence, here's the academic study, here's all of this information that supports my position. When you, as someone on the other side, wants to disagree with me, it's not just me that you have to disagree with. You have to contend with really proving out why each of these representatives are wrong based on whatever support I invoke. And it makes it solidifies my case a lot more, but B, it makes opposition a lot more diminished if they're unable to do that. Right. So if I say, hey, Brown and Cairns said this about total immersion, and you are maybe someone who just has a pet theory about immersion and how it's not real or you can't get there, it's a little bit different when I say, Brown and Cairns, who have been cited hundreds of times, this is one of the most majorly cited studies regarding immersion and gaming, and it's been cited a bunch of different ways. It's a little different than you saying, yeah, well, I don't think you can do that.
It's very much a case where I would say, oh, I've tried meditation, but it doesn't work. No, meditation works. It's not working for you. And you have to figure out for yourself why it's not working for you. Because it works as on a principle. And, sometimes it doesn't work and you're okay with that. You find something else that will work for you. Like, you don't have to
Yeah.
make meditation work or like total immersion in role playing games. If you have fun doing other things, you can also like let that one go and focus on something that does work for you. Move in a
Yeah,
different
just because
direction.
immersion, just because it is possible to get there, to get to that state, doesn't mean that you have to get to that state to be doing the thing or to be,
Yeah.
doing it correctly or like it's
It's
not a
not like all
disqualifier.
the other ways to have fun has suddenly become illegal because, well, there's a better version. So that's the whole like a point of contention. And I feel like on my end, I feel a bit guilty of like making it an us versus them thing because I like it happened to me of I enjoy immersion. I want to be more immersed in my role playing. Cut
Mhm.
out the chatter, cut out the rules discussion, be in character. And the other players I used to play, they were like, well, it doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you just play Fate? Where you have like meta currency points to invent something into the world to your benefit. And
Mhm.
it's for me such a struggle to break into the brains and say, you don't get it. It's not about winning the game by inventing lore, it's about making the world more believable, which makes it more enjoyable for me to exist in.
Yeah, it's about being there. It's about becoming some character, some person that you're not.
Yeah,
And G Funk Rescue Crew just said he. There's actually a previous comment of his that I'd like to address as well, but
let's go to it.
the most recent one says, "I just hate that GNS is such a popular model for trying to communicate what kind of game you want. Before Frames, I would get recommended narrativist games. I'm going to put that in air quotes,
Yeah.
like PBTA. And I you're with 4D, you're still going to get recommended PBTA because that seems to be a general misunderstanding is that we are story gamers, we are theater kids, we want to, tell a story, and that's not it. It's not the same thing. We don't have that same goal.
I want to,
Um,
before we go, we have to unpack some of those terms. GNS for
yeah,
me has been such a, it gets thrown in gamist, narrativist, and the last one was simulationist. I hear that
yes.
and I think, oh, that sounds smart. I have no idea what it means. you know, I cannot relate and I cannot use it. Therefore, I don't really think about it. And when people bring it up in their videos, I'm just like, okay, but what is your point? I wait for the next beat to happen to get
I
back
think
on board.
generally people who use the terms gamist, narrativist, simulationist. I think first of all, gamist and narrativist have really kind of fallen away. The one that people seem to use mostly is simulationist. Now, that might just be in the YouTube circles that I traverse, right?
Yeah,
Maybe I
might
just
be.
happen to listen to a group of channels that prefer to use that specific one. That could be the case. But anecdotally, in my experience, I think that simulationism it's the most useful,
Bless you.
bless you. It's the most useful, but it's not I don't I don't even want to say that, right? Like some games do have a simulation sort of element to them. Though whether or not it's simulation or emulation, like that's a whole other conversation. But
Now we just like
a
when they
game is
say,
a game, and like this is why GNS falls short. A game is
yeah,
a game. A game. It's not gamist, narrativist, or simulationist. It's not because first of all, most role playing games have aspects of all three, and I think the idea from the Forge, and I could be wrong about this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the idea was that a role playing game should focus on one of those three elements most heavily because there are specific types of players that are looking for those things, and it's like a design philosophy almost, right?
that's a claim
'Cause
to help designers design role playing games for their market, so to say. Like, oh, those are three
yes,
kinds
yes,
of people. This is how you identify them and design a game with that in mind.
yes. But here's the thing: a game is a game, and what I mean when I say that is that the game will make its own players. Within the rules is codified the type of player the game expects you to be whilst playing the game. And so it's not really a matter of appealing to the simulationist or the gamist or the narrativist. It's about making your game and within the rules of the game providing some measure of affordances and constraints. What can I do and what can I do? That then makes the player in the process of playing, right?
Yeah.
Because you're only a player if you're actively playing the game. There's no like there is no there's theoretical player and historical player. You are never a historical player unless you're actively playing the game, right? And this gets into I'm trying to be brief about a whole bunch of different stuff that I really feel like I need to get the support
Well,
out for.
yeah, that's
But
okay. There's
I feel like I'm feeling short. I feel like I'm punting this entire
I
conversation.
want to go like G Funk's comment that we talked about. Like he hates that GNS is such a popular model trying to communicate what kind of game you want. Before frames, I would get recommended narrativist games like PBTA. So okay, so people he's saying, oh, I want like a more believable world, I assume, or I want to enjoy being in character more. Or use this rule slide system that gives you mechanics to invent stuff into the world, or that's like outside the scope of just acting in character, but putting stuff into like kind of as a meta move for you to use. Of I use my lore skill, which if I roll good enough, what I say is true, and if I roll bad, then it's true, but with a twist, and the twist is gonna bite me in the ass. Which is very much like, okay, how is that gonna help me be more immersed in my character? I don't see it.
I don't think I do either. And it's like I said in the Discord earlier that like PBTA, I'll say this. I have very little experience with Powered by the Apocalypse games or Apocalypse World. Um, I've only ever read, and I haven't even read in its entirety. But I can say that moves lists are generally, as far as I can tell, the most impenetrable types of table you can include in a game. You're, I feel, and again, this is without experience. I've never played one of these games, so I don't know what I'm talking about as far as praxis goes. But I can envision a game where I am at the table and I have to do a move that's specifically titled in the book, and I have to go and find that move so that I say it correctly, because it makes the conversation of role playing far less fluid,
Yeah.
because there are specific things that I have to communicate with specific words, and it becomes a table that is just impenetrable. Because how am I supposed to look? Whatever.
So
Again,
you're
this
no
is without any
longer.
kind of practice whatsoever. So who
Well,
knows?
no, it's fine.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I would like. I want to continue the train of thought because, from my end of view, I'm trying to experience the world through the eyes of my character. Through, I am this dwarf monk, and things happen to me. I react to it. I charge the kobold, and punch him. So I don't want to think about, do I have the punch move? Do I have the charge move? Do I have the feat? Do I have it unlocked or not? Because those things are kind of meaningless to me. It's like, I have 2 legs and he's in range. That's all I need to know. And I'm gonna roll the dice to achieve that. And with a more rules heavy system like Pathfinder, the next step is thinking, do I need to think of any modifiers? If it's something that I'm more likely to do because I'm a melee class, I'm a monk, it's a fighting game. Like Pathfinder has lots of combat, so I'm gonna have that like in the back of my mind, like pre-prepared as part of playing the game of Pathfinder. And if I don't know, then I just do it anyways and let the game master fill in the details that I miss. Like I charge him, and I just roll a die. And maybe in a more casual game, I say, I forgot the rules about charge. Do I need to add any modifiers? I rolled an 18. And go from there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I like it when you agree with me, Bacon. It makes me feel very much like, ah, yes, I'm correct.
Yes,
If
you are
Bacon
correct.
agrees, it means
You said the
I'm
correct
good to
thing.
go, you know?
I wouldn't go that far. I would not go that far. I have myself being wrong, like recorded myself being wrong, and then put it up in video on the YouTube channel. So don't go that far. It's honestly wrong. Like I'm not being wrong intentionally. I'm not trying to lie to people. It's an honest, incorrect statement. But
Hey, it
I
gives
wouldn't go so
people a
far.
reason to leave a comment in the YouTube sections and go,
That is true. That is true.
I've played 100 sessions of 5 different PBTAs, and this is what happened, and post their essays, and I'm like, one more comment. Thank you, algorithm. But also it gives us like information to work with. Like I don't have time to play every game. I need to ask somebody who played that game. Like I don't do all the theoretical research on papers about games and about role playing. You do. You collect that information to help you support the arguments so that the online discourse just doesn't get dragged into the mire, right? Get dragged into the mud, and nobody really defends their positions. Like nobody's willing to give up on the position, even if your argument is sound and cogent. Not to invoke Reddit, but that's the common problem with an online platform like Reddit. Of you're supposed to have a discussion about the topic people bring up, and then they just say, "What about this?" and don't actually want to listen what you have to say about it. They just pull it up there as a gotcha card. Like, I gotcha. Therefore, I win. I get 20 upvotes, and I walk away. It's like, well, how are we ever learning in this hobby if that's how we interact?
Yeah, you're just shouting into the void. I have never in my life been to Reddit. I have no intention of ever being there.
I've not.
It's just not. It's I don't. I do have a Twitter. I think I've maybe made a post to like promote a video, but it's just too much. I just no. Nope. I'll stay away from Twitter. I'll stay away from Reddit. I just have no desire to do that.
So what made you join for the roleplay? What makes that one different compared to Reddit and Twitter or other role playing communities where you feel like there's not really much happening over there, you know?
Well, it's not. It was first of all, it wasn't all theory. Like I could take a look at the games and see how it was done, and I could ask questions. There are people like Crispy and Phil and Max and you and Nicholas, and like you've all made yourself available to have questions asked and see what your different perspectives are. And that's not by no means is that an exhaustive list. Um,
We
and
have
so the more I
dozens
learned
of
about it,
role players on our Discord. Dozens.
thousands. The more I learned about it, the more interested I became, because that had never really been my experience in role playing. And I mean, I have quit very many campaigns for the slog that they became. It was just not something that I wanted to experience. The
Yeah.
last campaign I recall leaving was, I want to say it was like like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 7. But
Yeah.
it was a remote game, and it was a game that it was combat after combat after combat, and it was always rule discussion, and it was boring, and there was nothing to hold my interest. And eventually, it was just like, you know what? I'm just sitting here scrolling on the internet for 4 hours, and I'm rolling dice every once in a while when my turn comes up, and there's really nothing to it, and it's a waste of my time, and I'd rather be doing something else with my time. And 4D, first of all, got me to think a different way about role playing games and
Yeah.
about role playing, which is to me was a very alluring thing. And then I started to, and I'm still in the middle of. I've by no means become a master. I've started to learn how to do it. I started to learn the praxis behind it, the whys. Why are we doing certain things that we do? Why is it that we say you can't have any electronic devices at the table? Why is it that we say You have to make sure that you know the rules of your character and that the GM gets to offload those to you entirely. And I will admit that initially it was difficult to reconcile some of the things that were said. But the more I looked into it, the more research I turned up, the more justifiable it became.
Let's go with.
The more. Go ahead.
I would love to like pinpoint one of those things, like things that were in contention in your mind, like why, like how is this making the game, like the role playing experience better? So yeah, if you want to name an example, I can think of the classic one of talking above table, like out of character, to ask something. Is a big sticking point for people of like, I don't want to give that up. I want to be able to ask a question. I feel like people have like this ambient
that was
anxiety.
Absolutely me. That was absolutely me. It's and I don't know why. Like when I first and I had this conversation a little bit with Maya on the Looking for Mom interview with Crispy and Dean and myself.
Absolute excellent episode. Highly recommend.
Great experience. Absolutely loved it. Go and watch their channel. It's incredible.
Turn off this live stream right now on Hub or
yes, leave right now and go watch it. Especially the liminal horror game is just exceptional. And now I've lost my train of thought. Dang it. No. Okay. So it was this idea that, well, what's the harm, right? What's the harm in asking a question to the GM? If I just need a clarifying question, I should be able to ask that clarifying question. That seems so just beyond the pale to me. And eventually I got it. It's a crutch. It's a fear of not wanting to be wrong. It is a fear of the risk of proposing something and having it shot down. It's like there's a whole bunch of human relatable things that go into this idea of, oh, well, it's just me asking a question. It's just a clarifying question. It's not that big of a deal. But when you are able to find a comfort level in 4D, that becomes, it's just, like you can see it for what it is. You can see how it might undermine the game, especially like anyone who's interested, anyone who has any questions, play a 4D game. Come into the Discord, find a game master. I'm not one of them yet, but there are so many people. See, you are one of them. There are so many people.
You can be. Look,
so much of their time.
The only difference between you being a game master or not being a game master is showing up for a game. It's like you just organize one. That's the only difference.
Yes, I completely agree with you, and I am headed in that direction.
There's like I mean, like the way you talk about it is very much reflected in a lot of the newcomers that show up on the Discord. It's thinking that a 4D roleplay needs you to have these particular set of skills that if you don't have them developed, then you're bored out. You can't do it. And I want to say it's the opposite. 4D role-playing is a tool, a set of tools to lower the barrier of entry so low to the absolute minimum, so you can experience it. And via experiencing 4D roleplay and doing the thing, then you develop the skills to do it better and better and better every session you have.
Oh yeah, 4D is. It's aspirational, right? A common phrase that gets bandied about is 100% in character. And this is a video that I've made as well. You can never be 100% in character because you're always aware of who you are.
It's like,
I'll just leave it at that. Okay. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get into the sticky bits, but you will always know who you are. And so it's 100% in character is never possible, but that's like, a little kid saying, I want to be Superman when I grow up. That kid can never be Superman, but if that kid uses Superman as his level set, as the bar that he wants to achieve, there is literally limitless opportunity for achieving in that mindset because you'll never be Superman. But you can
Yeah.
always try to be as good as Superman. You can always try to be as personable as Superman, as kind as Superman. Like, it's a very aspirational thing to say 100% in character. Impossible, but
I mean,
aspirational, and that's okay.
and Superman being like a classic comic book example, of course, we draw the same. I draw the same parallels with religion. With what would Jesus do? Having those
Yep.
bracelets on and be like, you end up in a situation. A beggar asks you for some bucks. I just need 250 to take the train ride to my job. Like, could you help me? And I think to myself, he wants drugs. But also I don't want to just walk away and you think about it, it's like maybe you say no and you walk away and you think about, but what would Jesus do? What would Superman do? What would Peter Parker do? What your aspirational character? What would your dad do? Most
No, and
classically,
it's funny that you bring up, what would Jesus do, because we cite that in the handbook as well. I cite Superman and Jesus. It's like role playing is
yeah.
nothing nearly as serious as faith or future, right? We're talking about kids wanting to be Superman. That's future. That's developmental. We're talking about the faithful wanting to be like their savior. That's way more serious than what we're talking about here with role play. But it's aspirational, right? You'll never be. I'm not going to say that. You'll never be Superman, but
Pack it in, kids.
yeah,
You're not getting there.
yep. Lace your boots up and get to marching. It ain't happening. But you can use that to aspire to better things. You aspire to better behaviors, and being a faithful member of some religion will also provide that for you as well.
And I ask myself, what would Talash do as the dwarf monk I'm role
Yeah,
playing in this setting? Okay,
WWTD.
exactly. What would he do? It's very helpful that the world is real, or us all pretending the world's real while we are playing. Because if it's not real, then I cannot really answer those questions very well. I'm gonna have all of these conflicting information about the world because players don't take the world seriously, or like they turn it into a clown's shoes exercise of I don't have like a practical example at hand, but throwing in
That's okay.
elements like, oh, I'm playing this clown fighter, he's a bard, and I do all of these clown jokes, and I have like way big clown shoes on as I walk around. It's like, okay, you have the character, now I have to pretend this world allows for your character to exist and be, and not just, and not immediately think, you're a freak, and I have to treat you like a freak because you're literally playing one in the setting.
Okay.
Stuff like Fallout makes it much easier for those characters to exist. With, okay, nuclear winter, bunch of misery happens, but maybe it's 100 years later, like in the future, of people coming back out of the vault, and you have a bunch of characters that have lived a different lifestyle. And once they reach the surface, reality hits the road of raiders existing, scavengers existing, mutants having developed their own societies because they cannot mix with the more normal looking humans, and ghouls ravaging the landscapes. What does it mean to live forever and losing your mind slowly? And you can have a bunch of crazy, wacky concepts in the same world without it taking you out of the experience.
Yeah, because it's all the logic's all internally consistent. You
Yeah,
can do a lot of crazy stuff. You can suspend a lot of disbelief as long as there's an internal consistency.
absolutely.
So, Mr. John Saito says in chat, 100% in character. I think in 4D there is a lot of metagaming involved. I would be interested to know what exactly you mean. It seems like a little bit of a conversation broke down from there and it was maybe put on ice. But I would be interested to know what you mean regarding metagaming, because it's, I think, going to that's going to really define whether or not you view any style of role play as reliant on metagaming. And it could be that your definition does absolutely place 4D squarely in the purview of a heavy metagaming type of style of play. And I would just be interested to know, not that I'm, look, if you don't want to type it, you don't have to type it. If you don't want to waste your time, I get it.
It's all opt-in. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, I think. Well, I see his previous comments here. Like reading the role-playing subreddit is fine. Like posting on it is a different beast. I'm not knocking people for interacting with Reddit because I find that's also for me aspirational. Interacting with the community that care about the hobby like you do, and not bouncing off the strong, eclectic opinions of people that are always looking for a fight and trying to be correct. It's an uphill battle for me. And the longer you interact with people on the internet, the more you realize, all right, some people just want to win. They don't want to know the truth. They just want to win the argument.
Yeah, and I am the sort of person that is perfectly fine with having someone say, I disagree with you, and being vehement about it, and me just saying, okay.
Okay.
You're allowed to disagree with me. I'm happy that you disagree with me. The world would be a much more boring place if everyone agreed with what Bacon had to say. But
it would be better with Bacon, but I guess you can live without it.
You can live without it. But I'm just not. Like it's okay. It's okay. I go on. Like I've been on Lord Mattias's show and Gary's show, the Second Watch, a couple of times now, and there's always people in chat who are disagreeing. They'll disagree with me. They'll disagree with 40, and that's okay. They're allowed to disagree with me. They have their own perspectives. They have their own goals for what they want to get out of role playing, right? They might really just like rolling the dice and moving a guy on a map, and I'm not knocking that. That's totally fine. Do your thing, man.
It's a different it's a different focus. When I want total immersion, like being in character and experiencing the world through the character, I don't think about having awesome combat mechanics and rolling higher die numbers and reaching level 12 to unlock this trait that will make my monk dwarf combat class explode in power. Because that would be a different goal. And
it is a different goal. And you know what? That's a goal that some people really enjoy. Some people, I played with someone a long time ago, different Star Wars game. So this particular guy really, really got a kick out of planning his character. Okay, this is what I'm taking at level 1. This is what I'm taking at level 2. And he had his character completely mapped out to a point where he knew who he was going to be at level 10, at level 12, and that really enabled him to play the role of the character more effectively. I do not play that way, but I respect that way to play. It's not my way. It's not the way that I want to play. I've never gotten enjoyment out of playing that way, but he did, or maybe still does. It's been a very long time. And that's totally fine. We just have different goals.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, it's fine. You're the guest.
I was just going to go back to chat, and I'm sure you realize once you get me talking, I don't shut up. So
no, yeah, I mean that's why I want you on my show, right? Like not all the other shows. Sometimes I watch you and be like, "Are you getting distracted by chat again? You had such a good point going on, but then you let it go."
Hey, look, I'm trying to straddle the line, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
People watching the show, they might think of I'm bullying Bacon. But
no,
we played before. We played together. I don't think you
come off that way at all, and I don't feel that way at all.
I'm very happy. I'm more concerned about what people think about you, about me, than what you think.
Gotcha.
But very much
real quick though.
Yeah, go
Mr.
ahead.
John Saito goes back to the comment about metagaming. Responding to Daryl, he says, in the sense that this is, I guess, qualifying the statement, 4D has a lot of metagaming, in the sense that you're still you and still have to think about your character a lot during the game. Make the character a fit for the game. So I get what you're saying here. And I don't necessarily qualify without getting too far into it. There are different frames. They're all laminated together. This is Goffman's frame theory, and it is generally the case that you are going to be present in multiple frames at the same time, right? So when you're playing a role-playing game, you can be in the character frame as your character, also in the game world because your character exists in the game world, also in the game context because you know you're playing a game, also in the primary frame, which is reality, because this is where I am. I experience reality. It doesn't matter how in camera I am. If someone comes up behind me and cold cocks me in the back of the head, I'm going to know I got punched. So, like, that was maybe a little bit more violent an example than it had to be. But you are, yes,
Yes.
always aware that you are you. But total immersion doesn't rely on you thinking that you're not you. So, and I'm not trying to change your definition. If your definition of metagaming is this, then yeah, I guess 4D does have a lot of metagaming. If metagaming to you is placing your character in your mind, in your imagination within the world, the game world, yeah, okay. Like if that's what we're calling metagaming, yep. But then it applies to literally every other type of role playing as well. So it's every style of role playing in every game where you envision your character in the world, that becomes a type of metagame. So I'm not trying to change your mind. Thank you for explaining. Thank you for letting me understand where you were coming from.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't think I agree, but that's okay. We don't have to agree.
Let's. I want to focus on two things. One of them is we will return to the definitions of total immersion, and the other two, engagement and engrossment. I think those are very important. But on the topic of metagaming and like the 4D role players, and that's what he means, like you, in the sense that you are still you, and still have to think about your characters a lot during the game, make the character fit for the game. I don't do that. I do that in session 0, so it's uploaded before the game. Hey guys, we want to roleplay Pathfinder, and we want to do it 4D style. Why? We all like 4D. Why Pathfinder? The game master loves Pathfinder. And then finding more reasons, we use that system to find out, okay, I've done D&D, the 4D style, with 7 episodes, so I answered that question, is it even possible? Yes, it is. It's not that hard. It gets more harder. It gets harder the higher levels you go. The more complicated the spells go, the difficulty will come up in keeping track of all the spells and their own little rules that are separate from every other spell. And if you think that there's they just have saving throws or hit attacks, those end up being thrown out the window the more esoteric the spells become and the deeper the book goes on it. Like, okay, that's nice and well, but now you have counterspell, which changes the interaction with the party and the world, makes the game part less enjoyable, and also breaks a bit of the immersion of this mystical, magical world that every wizard just walks around with counterspell in their pocket and stuff like that.
Counterspell to me is like, I don't know. Counterspell requires an action economy.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to have a reaction in order to cast a counterspell. And I don't think I believe that I have speed enough as a human person witnessing someone else perform an action. Once they've committed to that action, I'm already too late. Like I can't identify this action and go, oh, it's a fireball, I need to counter that. It's like, nope, fireball's already in my face at that point.
Yeah, you need that buffer of, I'm aware of the threat, he's a spellcaster, and the thing he's casting is gonna hurt a lot. It's gonna be a big pain in the ass, and then being able to react to it. And, in the settings of, to reach that point in combat, I'm always going to counterspell because it's a tactically advantageous thing to do, but it limits your player expression, your freedom, the player freedom to act what you think would be cool, what you think your character would do. and not just be this heal bot or this counterspell bot or this tank that just yells at the enemies and pulls all the aggro, like drawing all of these MMO terms of, we just break down the role playing to win the fight and go to the next fight and win that fight too. It's optimizing the fun out of the game.
I don't disagree with that. There are a lot of trappings with regard to classes specifically that I don't really mesh well with. It is very rarely the case that you are so good at the one thing that you have forsaken all other, like, just everything else.
A classic.
It is frequently the case that humans are like my friend who is he does something with software, some sort of programmer.
Yeah.
Also an artist.
Yeah.
Also knits chainmail. Also a writer. And that's possible. That's not unheard of. I can tell. It's like, well, he doesn't have any free time. But when I tell you those things, that doesn't sound just preposterous or just outside the realm of possibility completely.
You don't have enough skill points to put into all of
Meanwhile,
those.
in the game, I don't have enough skill points to be a caster with who can use a shield. Like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure. Look, I'm sure there are systems that account for this.
It's one of the things I like the most about the 5th edition of D&D. Oh, you get a class and you get a background. I have 2 different points of vectors of attack to create my character. And suddenly I have like a matrix of different possibilities for character ideas. And then like being able to pick and choose elements inside the backstory or inside the class. Giving you this like breadth of freedom. On top of the core rulebook saying, oh yeah, if the background doesn't fit you, rewrite your own background, being in the rules. And nobody, like every table I've set at and that I've run, ever used it. And when I try to use it, players look at me funny of like, oh, that's not in the rules. It's like, well, I've read them and you don't, so believe me.
Actually, on page 35.
Exactly. I'm gonna check if he had a follow-up on that. Mr. John Sido. I think as a player it is easier, you just have to think about one character. Well, yes, as a game master, you're the whole world. So is it the metagaming to play the whole world as a game master to the point of like...
Oh, that's a heck of a question.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's not something that I ever really considered. It's not something that I have a ready answer for.
I think that's just like part of playing the game. Okay, somebody has to play the world. We pick a game master for that. It's a practical solution.
There is a measure of practicality. I really have to give it some thought. I don't have a ready answer for that. Not one that I'm like, I would have to sit here and puzzle it out live, and that I think would be maybe boring. But
if people think being the game master is like is a metagaming thing, I'm happy to concede that. Like, I don't think anything is lost with that train of thought in my mind, at least. One more from Mr. John Sido. I admit that as a player, I have no problem with it. As a game master, though, I feel I have to juggle a lot more. Maybe metagaming is too loaded a term for those mental tasks. Juggling. I think we can talk about that because, Mr. Johnson, I don't believe I've seen you play a 4D role-playing game. I have a link to the Discord in the description below. You can join. You can join a training session. It's free. It's done as a volunteer service. Give it a shot and figure out if, after trying it out, if you think this actually reflects what you believe, or if you possibly change your mind on it. But to the point of like, oh, it's a lot to juggle as a game master. Yes, there is a lot to juggle. And with like immersive role-playing, and with 4D role-playing in particular, we offload those jugglings to the other players. I'm not keeping track of all of your character and class rules. I'm not the one that has to be asked every time how combat works or initiative works, or having to probe the game master, can I do this? Or do I have permission to scan the door for traps? the players can just do it, which means a lot of moments where you have to like give permission. You just give them, you front load permission of it's the world, you're a character, just interact with it. If a roll needs to be made, you can just say, I'm gonna roll for this. And if a roll is not needed, you just succeed. There's not that much offloading the responsibility to the players, allowing you more freedom to think about how the world reacts to the players' characters. Any thoughts on that, Bacon?
I don't. Not in the moment, no.
All right.
It's something that I am definitely going to take from this interview, this experience, and probably try to reconcile. And there may be, I don't know, maybe there's a whole video there. I don't know. There's definitely a whole video in metagaming. Like I've been trying to get a metagaming video together for it feels like months now. It probably has been months.
There's a tension in my head about what it means to be a GM. And a lot of it is the assumption that you have to do a lot of prep. You need this wealth of knowledge and like inexhaustible experience over decades of practice of actually doing the thing with people before you can be a GM. And
I have GM'd before, and I only recently returned to it, and it was, I don't know if we can call it a 4D session. It was for a play test. So the goal was definitely to be 4D. And I think we probably got there. So I have GM'd in 4D. I just don't speak with authority on GMing because I do not have a lot of experience. And so I will rely on the experience of others and how they relate it in order to really kind of comment. So I wish I had something to say about it.
We have different methods, but the easiest example for me to draw from is having the weekly Ultimate No Prep Challenge by Uriah Edwards on his YouTube channel every week, and it's only for this year. So I think it might be like 1 or 2 more sessions.
Tomorrow's the last session. However, Thanks Skeleton Roleplay is taking over in the new year.
Amazing.
So there will be a continuation of on PC. So if you're looking for those, sessions, I highly encourage you to subscribe to Thanks Skeleton Roleplay.
And UNPC answers the question for me of, do you need prep? Is prep even necessary to be a game master? And the answer is no. You don't. You need
this gets into the question of what is prep, because you're going to be tangentially influenced by a lot of different media, film and video games and books. So does all that count as prep? If everything is prep, is nothing prep? You're going to find inspiration in sometimes the most expected place and sometimes the most unexpected place. Maybe there's a fight that you're having with one of your parents and they drop a line and you go, oh, that's interesting. I'll use that in a game. So,
the good thing is
what you want to call prep.
The good thing is we all have a point of reference because we live, right? We live in a world, we interact with it. So whether or not you have read 1,000 books or watched 100 movies, it will influence how many points of reference you have to draw from to create or recreate different worlds on the spot. But it's not needed. You can also use your imagination of living in a desert as a kid in a small town with almost nobody there, a stick in your hand, and using that as a point of imagination. But what if it was a nuclear fallout, and now you can imagine this Mad Max scenario: people driving around in cars through the desert, and the currency is gas on in car parts and stuff like that, or milk. How do they get milk? Oh well, you
don't want to know.
You don't want to know. to the point of like a prep is needed for you need to know the rules, so read the rules, try to read the rules once. If the rule book is too dense, learn as you go. Look, peruse the rules, look which ones are super important that is definitely gonna show up in session 1. And if you play again the next session, then you will have another hour or two to look back in and see if you missed something. And you develop that. And those are like, you need to learn it for every system, but you do it once and you do it over time. The more you play, the better, the more important it is that you actually like finish reading the rules and pick the ones that are super useful for your game.
Oh, I think so for sure. I think there is, I think there's something to be said for prepping. Is it required? No, but it can be seen, and this comes from Crispy and Dean. So Gallows Humor Games with Dean and Table Runner Crispy had a conversation on Dean's channel about prep, and it was a very insightful conversation. And Crispy and Dean, I think, both landed on the idea that prep is an investment in your own fun. So we say that players are responsible for their own fun at the table. It's your investment that you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
Prep can be a type of input that you then can, get output from. And I like thinking of it like that. And for the most recent, I say the most recent, it's literally the only game that I've GM'd in decades. For the game that I GM'd, I did do some prep, and it did bear out. And I found it fascinating because I had some things prepped, and I was constructing how it was going to go in my head. Bad news, I know, but bear with me. And I wasn't writing a story. It was really just, how is it that I'm going to handle specific character action if they choose to this? Like, what if they choose to just go in the opposite direction? What if they choose to just not engage with the particular scenario? Because again, it was a play test, so it was like really, really self-contained. Because there were certain things that we wanted to take a look at. And it became very interesting to me to watch them play, to see how these events unfolded, to see how it was kind of in the middle. It wasn't really all one or the other. It was pretty well down the middle. And it allowed me room to do things I didn't plan for, but made perfect sense within the very small, the microcosm of a world that had been created through my prep and their actions. I actually had quite a good time with it. And I do intend to sort of broaden my horizons and get more into GMing in 4D specifically, because it was a very fruitful experience for me. Playtest aside, it was very fruitful for me because I really sort of began to understand. And isn't that the way of it? We can sit here
Yeah.
and talk to you about 4D till we're blue in the face. Really, what we want you to do is come on into the Discord and just play a game. Just play a game and see if you like it. If you don't, cool, no problem, no worries. But you might really, really like it.
It's not a cult,
And it'll
guys.
help you understand what we mean. Like
Yeah.
more than just liking it or not liking it. It will really give you a really solid foundation on what it is we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I want to move on to. I'm kind of looking on the clock. I have like at least 30 more minutes from you. After that, we can see if you have it all wrapped up or not. But
yeah, sure.
Engagement, engrossment, and total immersion. I went back to look at a couple of my Discord comments just so I have it tracked in my mind. This idea that's like being. Talk to me about those 3 different things and what they mean.
Okay, so Brown and Cairns released a study in 2004 titled A Grounded Investigation of Game Immersion, wherein they explained 3 different levels of player involvement. This is a study that was conducted with video games, but since has been applied academically to other areas to include tabletop role playing games. So this is not something that I am doing. I didn't take Brown and Karen and go, oh, that's a good idea. We can use that over here. Someone has already done that. That door has already been opened. So it can be applied to role playing games, as is actually usually the case with video game studies. And the sad truth is that, and this is something that Mike kind of pointed out, there's more games or there's more money in video games, so that's where all the studying is done. That's what gets all the funding. Thankfully,
Yep.
we can borrow quite a lot of that, but that's also why we have to borrow a lot of that because there's not as much money in tabletop role playing games as video games. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So in this study, they describe 3 levels of involvement: engagement, engrossment, and total immersion. Engagement is when you're interested enough in the game to want to continue to play, but you lack heightened emotional levels. So there's no real attachment to the characters or the world. You're interested and you want to continue, so you continue, but there's no, like I said, there's no emotional investment.
Do you have an example of like a game you've played that you would say you engaged with it, but that's about it?
Um,
Any
oh,
video
very
game.
frequently, yeah. Let's say World of Warcraft. I
Ah.
cannot tell you how many times I will, or I have been playing World of Warcraft and I've just been leveling another character and I'm interested. I'm engaged by the game. I do want to do the quests. I do want to level my character. I do want this new whatever, Horde Paladin I'm making, whatever. But I'm not emotionally involved. I'm not reading any of the quests. I don't care what they want me to go and pick up or kill or like I just don't care.
Oh, kill 12 boars? Fine.
Right,
Why?
right, right. It's the game is engaging. I do want to continue to play, but there's no emotion, there's no investment beyond just I want this paladin. I think it would be cool to play this paladin in the end game. Let me get to the end game with this paladin. So that's the best example that I have. Then there's engrossment, which is a step above engagement, and this is where players do become emotionally involved. When that happens, the game becomes the most important thing that the player is paying attention to. And it can, though it doesn't always, affect their emotions directly and also subsequently. So it always does affect their emotions, but it doesn't have to have that like afterglow. Um, like you can feel emotionally drained. You don't have to feel emotionally drained, but you do have to be emotionally engaged while you're playing the game. So that's engrossment.
I would, I like Warcraft as an example. A
Mm-hmm.
couple years ago, I joined a heroic guild to do heroic raiding, which is a lot harder than just going into a dungeon. You will die unless you understand how your class plays and you've set up your macros, you've set up the add-ons, you know how the user interface works. You practice playing
Yep.
piano on your keyboard, so you can click 1, 2, 3, QER, and you have your dispels on the Y key, and all of that. So once you're in, you're engrossed, interacting
Yes, and
with
that
the
can
other
be
players.
that in and of itself can be a type of engrossment because you are driven by like you have an emotional investment in winning. So you are investing in creating the macros and making sure you have your rotation down and making sure you have the best spec and optimizing in other ways, making
Yes,
sure you have your potions, making sure that you're well fed. Like
you've done
that is a
research
type of
outside the
engrossment.
game to put into the game to be a better performer.
Yes. Yes, that still I would think counts as engrossment, though I would probably want to, before I say definitively, I'd want to maybe go and find a study or two on that. But
All
I
right.
think that for the purposes of this conversation, it's a decent example, right? It works. And then there's total immersion, and this is the most involved a player can be. It's being there. It's when everything else goes away around you. You are not paying attention to the notifications you're getting on your phone. You are very likely, or maybe that's not correct. It's not necessarily very likely, but you are more likely to become the character that you're playing for periods of time. Um, and in those moments, the game is the only thing that the player cares about. So there are times where you'll be playing World of Warcraft or Skyrim or whatever role playing game, tabletop role playing game, where things just stop around you, and you're not paying attention to your phone, and you're not paying attention to what's going on in the other room. You're not paying attention to the rain outside. You are in character. You've become the character. Now, this particular stage of involvement is very fragile. So it doesn't happen. It's not really something you can count on. You can help it by creating the conditions that will best accommodate total immersion, but you can't really count on creating total immersion. Like you can engage faculty. You can put effort into it, and the effort will vary depending on what you're playing. A lot of times, the effort can manifest as eliminating distraction, which is what we talk about in 4D. But that's what total immersion is. And so the study, Brown and Cairns, 2004, a grounded investigation of game immersion, has been cited quite frequently. It's one of the most cited studies on immersion, right? And there are some, how to say this? Here's what I'll say. Some challenges to immersion. It's not a challenge to the study. I'm not saying that this particular study is challenged. As far as I'm aware, there's not really a whole lot out there challenging the study or trying to debunk the study. But there are those who will try to debunk the idea of total immersion as casually or colloquially defined, not necessarily academically as in the study. Again, I want to get away from the study at the moment.
Yeah, no worries.
Who will cite like switching costs and task switching as a sort of insurmountable opposition to total immersion.
When you say switching cost, what does that mean?
Okay, so I am answering an email right now, and someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, I really need this complex math problem solved." And so I solve the real quick math problem, and then I go back to writing the email.
Yeah.
When I switch out of writing the email to solve the complex math problem,
Right.
that incurs a cognitive cost because I have to get into problem solving mode. And then it incurs another cost when I switch back to writing the email because I have to get into email writing mode or whatever that mode's called. It's they actually
I understand.
have technical.
It very much like, okay, why did I write this email? Right, I wanted a favor and I need to word it carefully so it doesn't come over as like I'm begging or you know.
Yes. And they are like they're one's creative, one's analytical. They're just different modes of task resolution. And so there are arguments that are made about task switching and switching costs with regard to role play that aren't necessarily the silver bullet that people think they are. I'm going to unfortunately have to leave it there for now because I'm in the middle of probably doing some research to bear this out to explain why this isn't the case. There are. Fun. Okay. So we'll just leave it there. It's just a little, I don't know, breadcrumb, I guess I'll drop.
I do want a few things for total immersion because I think it's one of those things of like, we are true believers because we've been there, we've experienced it, therefore it's easy for us to accept that it exists. And for people that have not tried 4D roleplay, they might think, I've experienced this before, you know, we 4D roleplayed all the time back in the 80s. And, you know, the joke is, well, why did you stop? Like, are you still doing it? Please tell me you guys are still playing this way. Like, no, we stopped. We changed in, like, this awesome car for, like, a Ford. I don't know. And total immersion being... I wanted to like, give people something more to grab of moments where they might have experienced this before. Would it make sense to be like, when you watch a horror movie, you actually like turn off the lights and close the curtains, and get something to eat, so that when the movie plays out, you're like completely in the movie, so you can go through the emotional roller coaster. And
That
when the
is
movie
the
ends, you're like,
type
wait, it
of
was 2
effort.
hours? Like time flew by.
Right. So that would be a type of effort in attempting to achieve the conditions for total immersion to happen. I hesitate to phrase to achieve total immersion because it's not like you can't plan that out. What you can do is hopefully achieve a better condition under which total immersion has a higher likelihood of happening. So if you're watching a horror movie and you turn the lights off and you know whatever you get your food to sit there and all the lights in the house are off and the maybe it's raining outside and you have the window cracked so that you can hear the rain come down to sort of provide a little bit of that atmosphere, that would count as the type of effort that Brown and Cairns discuss regarding achieving the conditions for a higher likelihood of total immersion. Man, that's a mouthful.
Well, yeah. In 40 roleplay, it's very much why the rules exist of don't talk out of character. It's setting yourself up to not breaking the immersion of the scene that is happening in real time. Like, time
Yes.
is flowing, it's moving forward, and we don't want to interrupt that. So that when events happen, things become hectic, and you can roleplay that hecticness out, for lack of a better word for that.
Say that last part again.
Is that when things become hectic, so that you can roleplay that out, like, oh, my character is stressed, I will react stressed in character, because we cannot
Yes,
pause time to be like,
Gotcha.
oh no, actually I'm role-playing a genius, so I'm just gonna ask you 5 questions first before I will act
Yes.
in character and let time flow
Yes.
again.
Yeah. Yes. And a lot of what we talk about in 4D is a lot of the effort that we talk about is eliminating those distractions. We want to make sure that we provide ourselves the best conditions that we can conceive of to allow a higher possibility of total immersion.
Yes.
Because that's really what the goal is. The goal is, and that's what all of these different conventions in praxis work toward. Only speaking in character, not asking questions of the GM, making sure that you know the mechanics of your character, making sure that
Yes.
you can execute them smoothly, eliminating distractions like phones or electronic devices, making sure that you have a good microphone and good headphones so
Oh
that
yeah.
there's no, electronic artifacting that will take people out of the potential for total immersion. It's already a fragile state. We want to give it the best possible chance to, to crop up or to thrive. Like there's, and look, it doesn't have to be total immersion can happen besides total immersion. You can be playing a video game during Thanksgiving with the whole family over, and there's a ton of noise, but you are still able to achieve some measure of total immersion while playing a video game.
Yeah.
Um, that can happen. It's just, I'm not saying it won't happen if you don't do these things. I'm just saying that it's it's going to have a better chance of happening if you do these things.
It's
And
setting
I'm not even the one
it's
saying it,
setting
actually. It's Brown
yourself
and
up
Cairn. So,
to reach this aspirational, to have this aspirational game, right? Of, oh, when I'm role playing my dwarf monk, that I can experience the event of the dragon coming to town and demanding that in 2 weeks we have delivered these lists of books to the dragon and paid 2,000 gold for every villager that lives here, or we're all gonna die. And for that to have any emotional resonance with me, to experience this in character, to experience this myself, that this is happening and I'm shitting my pants, how do I react to that? I'm not leaving I'm not leaving my character's head to think about how would I react to that. I just react to it. And after the
Sure.
game, I think about, oh, what does that mean? I don't spend the time analyzing myself in third person during the event. I just react to it because it's also part of staying immersed in character for me at least. I saw this happen. A great example is when I did the training session with Cade, and I was graciously allowed to put that one on YouTube. That he had a moment where he was thinking about, oh, that would be a cool scene for his character to do, and he caught himself, no, I have to think about what my character would do, not what would be a cool scene for my character to do. So he like switched on the spot to be more immersed in the scene and not think about like this meta gaming storytelling narrative of what would make for a cool movie scene.
I have very many strong thoughts on that type of thing that I'm not going to go to.
Why
go
not?
into here.
No!
Because I know
People have
I
to
know,
they have to subscribe
really
to Better
jerk
with
move
Bacon.
for me to say that, but there are I don't want to just make assertions without support. So I will make the assertions with the support in a video, and then I'm very happy to come back and talk to you about it.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine to
very strong opinion.
I think it's fine to make assertions. It is what a podcast is for. And then you make the video to help you like suss out the details of like, hey Bacon, you mentioned your strong opinions about thinking about the moment, what would be cool, instead of just acting on the moment. Which also gives you a reason to like actually go make that video now that you put something out on air. But that's up to you. It's up to you. Like you don't want
possible, but
if you don't want to open yourself up to
do things.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Because I prefer to be able to make the assertion and then say, hey, here's a video, go and watch it, where I actually flesh the case out.
Absolutely.
That's my preferred method. Otherwise, I just like to head it off at the pass. I like to have the support out there first and then make the assertions based on the support.
It's a way much less reckless and a lot more defensible for sure.
Yeah, well, and I generally try to be as I don't know, not reckless as I possibly can
absolutely.
be. Because I don't like. I mean, it's not like it's a danger. I just don't like to. I want to contribute to advancing the discourse, and so making an assertion without the support has the potential to muddy the discourse, and I just don't like to do that. I criticize the Forge for doing that, or for having done that. So I prefer to not do that. If I am wrong, if I do muddy things, it's at least honest, but I like to wait until I have the support out there before I start talking crap.
All good. I've like at least one more tangent in me, kinda, but we did hit the time limit. Do you have like 10 more minutes or do you want to?
Yeah, no, 10 minutes is good. Let's do 10 minutes.
All right. I mean,
I'm not timing you, so we'll reach a natural conclusion.
So I have time, but you ask me like how long it's gonna take. And I want to give you the freedom to be like, okay, time's up. I actually want to eat, or I have a date with the wife, or you want to get some work done. So I don't want to like.
Food is definitely on the way soon. So I really don't have much more than 10 minutes, but I got 10 minutes, and if we go over, if it's 12 or 15, I got that. You're fine.
As an artist myself, I feel like it's very relatable to hit a flow state of time moves, but I'm not aware of it because I'm focused on creating a piece of art, on solving a problem of how do I shade this character. I don't know, like, am I gonna throw in negative, I forget the words, like lighting, shading, how do I visualize this character? Like, it's all in my imagination. I need a reference point. Drawing it together, like drawing it on the tablet, and having the technical skills involved, I'm so engrossed in the process. Like, okay, I'm mixing my words now, but having this flow state of losing track of time until it's done, until I'm satisfied, or at least like I need a breather now because it's exhausting. It's the flow state, which is also very much a topic that has been discussed, I believe, like academically too. Is there crossover?
Yeah, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's how I was taught to say it. Is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's flow state. Yeah, it absolutely has academic backing. Yes.
Is it the same thing, or is it like a major difference between those two things? Like, are we conflating two ideas?
Well, I think it's the same thing, and it's so there. Mike, keep me honest. So there is something called, I think it's autotelic engagement. Is that what it's called? Where you are doing the thing for the sake of the thing. You are enjoying doing the thing, and that is when sort of, time stops around you, or maybe it just continues to go and you're unaware of it. However you experience it.
Yes.
And you're just performing the action for the sake of the enjoyment of performing the action. That is a very real thing, and I do think it happens in role-playing games. And I have a live stream with Mike, where we review this particular phenomenon in the context of role-playing and immersion, because autotelic engagement it's either depending on the study or the understanding of it. But autotelic engagement is either a prerequisite for immersion, so it precedes immersion, or it is a requirement that exists alongside immersion. So if you are immersed in something, you are also autotelically engaged in it. But yeah, it's very much like flow state in role playing is, I believe, a very real thing, and Mike does, and I think that we do a pretty good explanation, or provide a good explanation in that stream regarding that particular phenomenon. Oh, Uriah's here. I love you too, Uriah.
Great.
He doesn't chat. Love you guys.
Oh, I didn't see him. Fantastic. Oh, there we go. Always happy to have Uriah in the comments. Yeah, I agree. I'm very much in my head, the thing you say there, like autotelic engagement, you do the thing because you love doing the thing. Like, you enjoy the thing in the first place. That's why you do it. A classic, like, that's why a role play. It's also why I almost stopped role playing. And sometimes in my life, well, I did stop, I did stop role playing because I stopped enjoying it. I don't enjoy the combat slog. I don't enjoy clarifying all the fucking rules to the players. I don't enjoy researching all the rules. And I don't enjoy doing all of the prep for all the players, the factions, the NPCs, the worlds. Like, how much do I have to flesh out until I am ready, until I'm ready. And then rubber hits the road and the players do something else anyways and get mad at me. And all of these reasons that are like, okay, this is emotionally taxing. This is eating into my time. This is not enjoyable. And I don't even get to role play. The worst part. Because the players are just like interacting, floating heads, floating around. They don't anchor themselves. They don't say, hey, I'm by this table. I'm leaning against that wall. They don't describe their actions in a way that lets me imagine the scene of what is happening. And it's always me describing the scene to give them an evocative image to think about in their heads, which means I'm doing 90% of the talking now, like all the time. So I'm exhausted at the end of the session while the players are like, oh, let's do another one.
No, yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's out of balance. That's definitely out of balance.
And if people wanna know what that looks like, I mean, I assume lots of people have this exact experience. And if not, you can watch my Descent into Avernus game on my channel. I have not deleted them yet. They're kind of embarrassing, but it's not like a bad thing of, well, if people want to watch crappy D&D games, they can. They have the option. And it's a nice comparison point to be what I do now compared to what I used to do back then.
Well, at the very least, people should watch your crappy D&D games.
Yes, if you're gonna watch it, if you're gonna choose one, pick me. Pick me.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm very invested, like from the artist's point of view, like getting really invested into a hobby, into creating something that doesn't exist yet. It's very, very, very enjoyable, and like a main driving force for in the arts world for me is I love sharing the thing. I don't do it to like, I don't know, like because I have this crazy idea and then I draw it and then I feel good about myself and keep it locked away and hidden away. It's like, no. The best part comes now that I get to show it to people and they say, wow, that's awesome. That's my favorite part about it. If people turn around and say, another elf, kind of lame, then I would stop drawing elves, you know? Be like, man, what am I doing this for?
Elves aren't lame. Dwarves are better, but elves aren't lame.
Dwarves are awesome. And that's why my dwarf is giga buff with giant muscles everywhere. It's like, he's level 1 when I draw him, but it's fine. It's fine. He can be level 1 and be a buff dwarf. All right.
Yes, you can. That is the takeaway from this stream. You can be level 1 and be a buff dwarf.
All right. I'm gonna
That's
give
the byline of the episode.
Want to end it here or check some of the comments?
Say that again?
Want to end it here or check some of the comments?
I think we can end it here. I've been following the comments. I think I appreciate everyone's participation. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for hanging. I'm probably maybe
all good.
That you should be doing. So go ahead and do your thing. I'm sorry. If
you guys have more things to say, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Or join the Discord in the description, the 4D Roleplay Discord, where it's all about like putting our lofty ideas into praxis. Like actually do the thing. Don't just think about doing it. Go out and do it. The barrier of entry is intentionally low so that everyone can at least give it a shot. And if you like it or don't like it after that, it's like completely up to you. It's not a value judgment on our end. Those tools exist to help us have total immersion in the game and get as much enjoyment out of the hobby as possible. And anyone who wants to like enjoy the hobby more, that's what I really like.
Yeah, you can't know what you do like until you try it, right? So maybe you don't like 4D. Maybe you love it, but you got to try it first.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for watching. And there we go. This is going to be the end of the stream. Goodbye, guys.
Take care, everyone. Thanks again.